Hello and welcome to another creative weekend. Right now, I am on the cusp of starting a new body of work, and I am totally swimming in that unknown phase. And in the mornings these days, I have been immersing myself in beautiful things and just drawing so many thumbnails to notice the things that are coming up again and again. And I do find in this part of the process, this is where my mind gets really active. If I'm not careful, I can get pretty unbalanced and a little bit compulsive. It is the part where I wake up in the middle of the night with ideas, and for years, I would usually succumb to this sort of inspired part, but then end up burning myself out. Now, I really try to consciously slow down this part of the process as much as possible. I have some exciting news. This Monday, I am starting a pottery class for the next 6 weeks, a summer pottery class. Russell got it for me for my birthday, and I am so excited about this. I've been really infatuated with pottery and sculpture. In fact, it's my main source of inspiration for my work, and it comes through in the forms that I create and also the textures on the canvases. And I've been thinking about taking a class for ages. I'm not much of a class taker. I am totally a kinesthetic learner, which is why I think a pottery class will work out, because we're actually making the pottery. There are things that I love, like I love this right here. And then there are things that I don't love, like the composition. So I think actually the smart thing to do right now is to stop. And you know that I always go on about the stopping thing. This is one of those edges where like I actually kind of really want to push on, but I'm getting a little bit attached to these very lovely marks that are happening. I'm absolutely loving this. And I'm surprising myself because I did not realize that I would love the chalk so much that now I'm sort of considering keeping it as a chalk piece over this rough surface. I'm going to stop this piece. I'm actually, I think, gonna stop for the whole day, and I'm gonna have a conversation with a dear college friend, Ina, who lives in Berlin. Maybe pick this all up tomorrow. Back at the easel, again, I am surprising myself a little bit because I am in a much more soft and romantic mood with these botanicals than my abstracts are. And I suppose this is not actually something that's new. Most of my representational pieces are very subtle and quite romantic. I also want to emphasize that I'm in a phase right now in the studio of my studio practice, which is only maybe a third of how I spend my working time. The business side of things also takes up quite a bit of time, and so does content creation these days. And I think that that is just kind of par for the course. So right now, the studio time, it's a little bit less significant because I already have this formed body of work that I'm using to present to galleries. And that is something that I'll talk about as I make more progress, but I have realized that sometimes when things are in their infancy stage, it's better to just keep them close to the heart and maybe not say so much about them. So with this piece, this is a perfect example of what I mean when I say the underlayer sort of informs what the piece wants to be and I allow it to emerge. I feel like this vase and these tulips were already kind of there in the strokes that I had been making, and then I just kind of coax them out. I always find a good outing to be so key in the balancing of my life. I can definitely be one who leans a little bit too heavily into solitude, although I also really thrive in solitude, and I know this about myself. But going out and getting that fresh perspective is so key. One of my staple places that I go for the noon sits is the Austin Zen Center. And I think I mentioned that I had been part-time directing the Austin Zen Center for 2 years while I was taking a break from being a full-time artist. So I'm trying to recalibrate my relationship with the Zen Center and with practice, because it changed when I took on those responsibilities and that different role. And the key element that helps with that kind of transformation, I find, is just time. And it's the same thing with the art practice and creating work and working through trauma and most things, relationship. It's all about kind of understanding that things take time. Let me show you the inspiration for these latest pieces. This, just a dried eucalyptus bunch from one of these crazy wedding bouquets Russell brought home. And you might ask yourself, why don't I just use this for the painting? And honestly, good question. I probably will actually end up doing that. And then the other inspiration is this. This piece is called Sakura. It's the Japanese word for cherry blossom. I just really enjoyed doing this piece. I loved it. And it kind of combined my two favorite things, drawing and painting. Like I used a painting technique that felt a little bit more like an oil paint drawing actually. The reason that I chose Austin to live in for my artist phase of my life is because my family lives here. We are not from Texas. Well, actually, my mom is from Texas, but she moved when she was a little girl. And my dad grew up overseas like I did, and then also in Colorado. My dad and I are just great friends. He has been one of my best friends since I was born, basically. And we are known for having these long and winding conversations about all things from philosophy to spirituality, politics. And he's just a wonderful guy. And of course, he always comes over with a power tool at my request. And that is a wrap. I hope that you guys are having a wonderful summer. And I have a meditation retreat next weekend, which I'm quite excited about. So I will see you in a couple of weeks. And hopefully I'll have some insight and some peace to bring along with that. So until we meet again.